Hey there, it's Craig Elliott here, creator of the Weight Loss Frustration and Freedom Solution, and I have a question for you. Would you like me to show you how to get breakthrough weight loss results while simultaneously freeing yourself from the struggle and the ongoing effort to maintain results, without you having to rely on willpower, motivation, or self-discipline, or having to count calories? If you're up for that and you're ready to escape that never-ending cycle of putting in massive ongoing effort for very little to no real or lasting weight loss results, then let me show you how you can break free from what I call the perpetual weight loser cycle that you've been stuck in for Lord knows how long, in as little as 12 weeks or less. Now, just in case you haven't heard of me before, here's a little bit about who I am and, more importantly, what qualifies me to help you. So as mentioned, my name's Craig Elliott. I'm a weight loss mindset coach, author, speaker, and the creator of the Weight Loss Frustration to Freedom Solution. I've presented my material amongst other groups to the Royal New Zealand Air Force, the primary health organisations, surgical obesity clinics, and a range of gyms, dietitians and nutritionists throughout New Zealand. I've also been interviewed by the likes of Ben Warren, the founder of the Be Pure Health Revolution, and Dr. Damien Christoph of Australian TV's Downsize Me fame. Following which I was also invited out to present my material at Damien's exclusive Waiheke Island weight loss retreat. And the reason I say this is because I want you to understand from the outset that the reason these institutions, the other industry leaders, invite me to speak to their groups, take part in my courses and send me clients is because they too have found that all the best advice, information and education in the world is somewhat futile if you as the receiver can't actually get yourself to put what you've learned and gained from them into consistent action long enough to create true and lasting change. So just let that little nugget open the door for what's to come, because in the next few minutes you're going to discover a new and unique solution that is designed to take you from being frustrated with your lack of real or lasting weight loss results to finally having complete freedom from the whole weight loss saga once and for all. Now, by the end of this presentation, you'll understand exactly how this new weight loss solution will help you to experience breakthrough results while freeing you from the struggle and getting you to a place where weight loss is no longer an issue for you. Now, you probably already know this, or at least have a hunch, that the answers you're seeking to really lose weight and keep it off won't and can't be found in the next new diet. And you know this because you've already proven this to yourself over and over. Am I right? So it's undeniable, and in fact, that is probably why you are here. Now, the problem is your mindset is both the trap and the way out, but unfortunately, you're somewhat blinded to both. You'll understand what I mean by that more as we go on. For starters, let me give you a simple equation. If you take a new diet and you bring to it the same mindset, you'll inevitably get the same result. However, you can take the same diet or a new diet, and if you bring a new mindset to that, which I'm going to be talking about today, then you can't not get a new result. You see, the problem is not in a diet or an eating plan as such. It's in the diet mentality, or the same way that you go into the concept of losing weight each time that just keeps you stuck, spinning your wheels, repeating the same patterns, and getting the same lack of real results no matter what you try. Now, this isn't your fault, because no one out there is really teaching this to the depth and the degree that it needs to go in the weight loss world to make a real difference. Which means up until now, you've actually been operating out of an incomplete formula. So there's been a missing piece of the puzzle, and they are too focused on weight loss and not focused enough on you, and therefore so are you. So the real issue is the majority of what's out there is only scratching the surface with regards to getting to the source of the problem versus wasting valuable time on addressing the symptoms, which you've probably found is somewhat futile and means little to no real results and certainly no lasting change or transformation. So because of this, you're left still stuck in the cycle, spinning your wheels, and potentially for a lifetime. Now, up until now, there hasn't been a complete A to Z solution which puts the focus on helping you get from frustration to freedom, and that works at the source or cause level of the problem. the weight loss frustration to freedom solution is that A to Z solution. It's the result of fusing together in a strategic manner all the ways I've discovered to help people truly break free from that perpetual weight loser cycle. And I'm going to reveal some of the unique frameworks within the solution so you can get more of a sense of what makes this so different from the usual weight loss approaches in just a minute. Because first I need to give you an overview of why this new weight loss solution works so well. Now, rather than the old way, which involves trying to change your behavior, your choices, and what you do, and you being reliant on your willpower, motivation, self-discipline to implement that, which inevitably sets up this inner battle. You may have felt that, this battle that you can't win, not unlike the two sumos wrestlers you see on the screen there. This is what it reminds me of, is you see them fighting and working, pushing against themselves. Now instead, the new way is all about working at the source or the cause level, changing the programs that run the behavior, realigning your mindset to your goals and the action you need to take, which by contrast is then characterized by a feeling of willingness and ease. So it's like the difference between having to do something versus wanting to do something. And they are poles apart, believe me. Because anything that is fraught with struggle, effort and obligation simply won't last. In fact, it's inherently self-sabotaging. But where there's alignment, ease and willingness, the behavior becomes self-sustaining. And that's when the power shift occurs. And by the power shift, I mean the very power that has been working against you all this time now begins to work with you and for you. So it's like the two sumos not only getting out of each other's way, but like them joining forces and walking together towards the same goal. To clarify, you probably already know this too because you will have felt it. You have been working against yourself on multiple levels the whole time you've been trying to lose weight. Now, if this sounds good to you so far, keep watching, because I'm going to share with you some of the frameworks and insights as to how the weight loss frustration and freedom solution can help you get from frustration to freedom. Now, to start out, let me walk you through your roadmap to freedom. You can also view this as a way of simplifying weight loss. What I'm going to introduce you to here are the 5 frustrations, some or all of which you'll be able to relate to and may be experiencing now, which then convert into the 5 steps, or we'll call them milestones, that you have to pass through as you move from frustration to freedom. Okay, so frustration number 1. You don't know why you can't lose weight. So you've tried many things, you tend to end up back where you were, and regardless of being intelligent and successful potentially in other areas, this weight loss thing just seems to nail you. Frustration number 2, you can't get yourself motivated to do what's required. Frustration number 3, you can't seem to stick to your diet or eating plan or weight loss program. Number 4, you don't know what to do after your diet. Now this is a huge one. And number 5, you don't know how to get free. In fact, you may never have even focused on getting free because that's not something the traditional weight loss approach promotes, interestingly enough. And ultimately that you pretty much end up back at frustration number 1, or with all of them, where you don't know why you can't lose weight. However, what if you could turn these 5 things around? Because if you could see why you weren't succeeding and then were given a missing piece of the puzzle and handed a better way, if you knew how to get your mind on side and truly inspire yourself into positive, willing action, rather than have to try to motivate or force yourself daily, if you could follow a diet, eating plan or program through in a way that genuinely felt good, you didn't feel like you were on a diet or depriving yourself, etc. And if you knew how to use that plan so that you no longer needed it and knew what to do after your diet to transition from your plan to a way of being. And finally, if you understood the keys to locking those changes in a way that freed you from continued effort to maintain results and the fear of returning to your old ways, if you could pass through those 5 milestones, then you would lose weight and keep it off without question, wouldn't you? What if you also knew how to use each of the steps to set up for the next? Because when used correctly, one milestone is like an entry level to the next. So they work synergistically together to shape the freedom mindset. Plus they follow the natural progression of what you need to do, the action you need to take along the way. So the whole idea is to make the action doable, easier, and sustainable. Think of it this way. If you're not doing what you know you should, then it's a mindset issue, isn't it? Because what else could it be? Now let me share with you the steps within the weight loss frustration to freedom solution. Now each step is naturally created in order to help you get through and conquer each of the milestones mentioned, and consequently shift from frustration to freedom. Step number 1, the frustration to freedom breakthrough foundation. This is about understanding why you haven't been able to lose weight and keep it off. It leads you to view weight loss completely differently and in a way that sets you up for self-sustaining weight loss rather than self-sabotage you may be accustomed to. For the first time, you'll see clearly the direct link between your mindset and your results. Now, the clients who go through this typically experience aha after aha moment as that direct link between their mindsets and what they do or don't do becomes obvious. And it really is the start of something new, and it sets you up with the beginning shifts and the new foundation you need, without which the rest is futile, and you've probably proven that to yourself once again. Here's a few words from a client. I'm going to sprinkle a few of those along as we go. So I wasn't sure this was what I needed, she said. Lose the fat in my head, but something kept drawing me back to this pamphlet on the gym wall. After meeting with Craig for the first session, it was like a dim light bulb started to glow brighter. With my current mindset, no wonder I was going round in circles with my weight loss, and up and down, and always feeling crap, depressed, and nothing in life to look forward to. Craig has taught me valuable lessons and helped me to get the correct mindset. I'm now clearly aware of where I am, where I want to go, and most importantly, what I need to do to get there. Things that have changed within our sessions, some of which I've tried to address before, have finally shifted. Your techniques are very powerful. This is something I haven't experienced before. It's quite exciting actually to have direction, goals and aspirations too. How can I thank you enough? And my husband thanks you also. I'm now a much easier person to live with. Thanks again, Jennifer. Right, on to step number 2. The inspired action formula. Now, this answers a question I asked for so long with regards to my own experience and my clients' frustrations. And that is, what's it really going to take? Now, in seeking a solution here and in answering this question and developing a process to solve those usual problems associated with the clients not being able to get into consistent action on things they knew would change their situation, in doing so, I've identified 3 key levels, namely motivation, inspiration, and then beyond that to getting your mind on side. Now, we need to cover all 3 to get you to freedom, and they need to be covered differently than the outdated goal setting and short-lived inspiration-based approaches of the past. The inspired action formula and the one-stop motivation method that you see on the screen or a diagram of, I've developed through working closely with so many clients that were struggling with the usual approaches, does this and so much more. It also provides solutions for the 5 reasons so-called motivation hasn't worked for you in the past. Now, if you don't get your mind on side in this way, then either nothing happens or nothing lasts. I wanted to be fitter, stronger and more motivated. I had 2 challenges: getting myself into activity, and the second was getting past the first 10 minutes of exercise. Craig began a program for me at 175 centimeters tall. I was 84 kgs, size 16, with a body fat of around 30%. Within a couple of months I'd lost 8 kgs. I'd hired a personal trainer whilst he had the exercise and eating plan for me. Nobody could have done what Craig and I had. The motivation, determination and self-belief was now firmly in mind. I am now at my ideal weight and I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I highly recommend Craig Elliott's services to anyone willing to improve and build their personal development. Craig is very professional and committed. Thanks, Craig, for the feedback from your talk. Keeps coming in, and one girl from the group especially has implemented the strategies you gave us and is transformed. And I heard from Lani, who was a leader in a Herbalife group that I presented a talk to. that she had in turn, really influenced some of the other girls as well. And so they're all going along awesomely. Now, step number 3, the healthy eating made easier system. Hopefully you like the sound of that. Now, this is about willingly eating mindfully and on purpose without feeling any sense of struggle, forced effort, sacrifice, or obligation. So here we begin to change your paradigm towards so-called diet mentality with the goal of taking out the struggle-based approach. You'll be introduced to the new psychology of losing weight, and this is part 1 of shifting from the diet mentality to the freedom mentality. You'll discover how to use a diet or eating plan to get free of it, and for the first time you'll understand where in the process of getting free a diet or eating plan actually really fits. Now, just as a little experiment and to prove a point, and just to break things up a little bit here, I want you to now just think of the word diet. Just bring the word diet to mind. And as you do that, I want you to notice what thoughts come up with that, like in the front and the back of your mind. What other thoughts are floating around as you think about the word diet and being on a diet? And how does it feel? So how does it feel emotionally? And then also, how does it feel like physically in your body? What are you sensing? And then what is your biggest urge? So, for example, do you feel excited and energized? Or do you feel flat and frustrated? Do you feel like moving towards the idea of dieting or back away from it? Now, if you're like most of my clients, unfortunately, the notion of dieting, and just losing weight for that matter, is fraught with negativity. It's tainted by past failures. It sort of leaves them feeling, to one degree or another, frustrated, disappointed, disillusioned, and certainly unresourceful, which means nobody can tap into their available power from there. And this just highlights the importance of what you associate or link in mind to something like dieting. And this can apply across all aspects of losing weight. It also clearly shows which direction you'll gravitate towards. And now this is super important, because it's not about what you can get yourself to do in a controlled environment for 1 week or 2 weeks or 6 weeks. It's more about what you are gravitating towards. And in this case, I'm guessing you'll likely be gravitating away from dieting. So that means no matter how much determination, willpower you can muster, you won't be able to topple those feelings, because they're at the associative level. And the fact is, we're emotionally driven, which is why logic and reason just don't stand a chance. And the point being, until you address things at this level, you are fighting yourself, as mentioned. Think about the 2 sumos. Now, how to align or realign to healthy eating in this way, in a way that fits for you, and how to align to all other facets of the weight loss journey, is the basis of one of my books called The Weight Loss Apply Mindset Manual. Now, you'll be getting the best of that, which culminates in a powerful 3-minute ritual you can use to align to all that you need to succeed this time. Along with that, you're going to learn how to use your mind to get the outcomes you want versus it using you to get the same old stuff. Essentially, between this milestone and the next, I'll be guiding you through how to create a new relationship with food and eating. One that serves you better. In other words, delivers the results you want. Because if you aren't getting the results you want, then your current relationship with food isn't working for you, is it? After my first appointment with Craig, I had some shopping to do. When I got to the supermarket, I went to where my goodies were shelved and I stood there looking, but I didn't want anything. I finished my shopping, leaving with none of the extras, saving myself over $35. I got in my car and thought, I don't believe this, not so soon. I've only had 1 appointment, but it was happening. The goodie trigger wasn't working. I've now had 4 or 5 appointments. It's not just about food. Other factors arise, which surprised me. I've lost weight without trying, without dieting. That's not only what it's all about though. Craig's system is helping me get a better life for myself, and most importantly, total well-being. Thank you, Craig, for helping me to move towards a better, more fulfilling and satisfying life for myself. Jan Francis from Levin. This next one's just from a little gym talk I did at one of the gyms. There's not the whole email, but just to thank you ever so much for your really great talk last night at the gym. It was really well received, and they were impressed with your knowledge. Okay, let's move on to step 4. Now this is called Beyond Dieting Mindset Mastery. Now this is about what you do after your diet, your eating plan, or your weight loss program. A pretty critical point, I'm sure you'd agree. But let me first ask you, has anyone actually taught you what to do at this point before? I mean, probably not. Other than so-called maintenance diet, which may mean you can slightly relax on and adjust some of the food you're eating, but it basically means you're still on a diet. You're still stuck in the diet mentality, and therefore destined to fall off at some point. So essentially the problem you face with the usual approaches is not knowing what to do after your diet and therefore putting the weight back on. Yo-yo dieting, or always having to be focused, diligent and on your game, which in the busyness of life, obviously no one can sustain. Now do you see why we need to evolve this approach? And this is what step 4 is all about. This step builds on what we've covered so far and encompasses more advanced aspects of how to move from the diet mentality to the freedom mentality. The solution to this dilemma then is having a solid strategy and mindset that enables you to seamlessly transition from a diet to a way of being. And through coaching over 1,000 clients, I was able to identify a myriad of hidden elements of mindset that were working against them and preventing this critical shift from occurring. To illustrate, let me share with you a common scenario I face as a weight loss mindset coach, and I'll present it to you with the same question I get asked. It's all about food choices. How do I go for the salad when the burger and fries look so good and smell so good? Or how do I choose the apple over the muffin as a generalization? Now I've got good news and bad news for you. I'm afraid you'll never win the I want the muffin but I really should have the apple battle. That's emotion or want, desire, against the intellect, which is more like logic, should, and reasoning. And as you now know, and I'm sure you know from your personal experience, those sorts of things such as logic just don't stand a chance and will not for long. But here's the good news. Rather than waste heaps amount of effort and energy fighting a losing battle, having to fight over every small choice throughout your everyday, there's a way of solving this problem all in one hit. The key is, of course, going to the source instead of dealing with the thousands of varying related symptoms. Now here's the secret that underpins how you do this. When you genuinely prefer the healthy options, weight loss will become immeasurably easier for you. So when coaching someone, I don't get bogged down with all the daily food choices and decisions they have to make and find so challenging. This would be ongoing, arduous, and probably a losing battle, and I'd have to coach them every day. So instead, I have them shift how they feel about healthy foods versus unhealthy foods. This happens at the level of what you hold in mind. Now I hope you're really starting to get this, because this is the power of working at the source level. You make one big decision, a strategic, pivotal shift that feels right and genuine, comes from your own personal goals, and you simultaneously have cut out 90% of your food battles just like that. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, well, how am I ever going to shift what I feel about healthy versus unhealthy foods? But that, at the heart of the program, is what I call a strategic alignment, and that is how we get there. Now at this point I feel it's pertinent to drive home the point that in line with getting to the source, it has also been my mission to uncover the big dominoes, as it were. The big dominoes that will knock over all the other dominoes, so that you don't have to deal with it all. Hey Craig, thanks. I'm so happy with the changes I've made already and feel great. I wish I'd met you years ago and I would already be at my goal. The positive changes I've made in a short time are amazing, and I already feel like I've achieved a lot. I now have a completely different view of losing weight. I recommend your services to anyone, not only for weight loss, but I'm sure your program would benefit various lifestyle changes and will always be grateful. Thanks again. I look forward to your seminar to cement what I have learned and changed. There's no going back now. This is Tina from Live-In. And secondly there, if this is what our family have done for one initial 1-hour seminar, what could we achieve from your course? And that was the ending of a rather long message or email I got from a client who had brought her whole family, and they were a large family, 5 or 6 people, along to one of my seminars, and that's how she concluded her email. Alright, now that your mind's a little more open to what I'm sharing, I'm now going to let you in on an even bigger secret. Now this is huge, beyond huge actually, and it begins your entry into the next and final milestone, which is where the biggest impact for the least amount of effort is available to you. Which incidentally, again, is the reverse of what you've been doing, and that what you have been focusing on up until now are the areas that require you to put in the most amount of effort for the least amount of impact. Step 5, your keys to freedom. So as a fitting transition into this final step and milestone, let me reveal this little known secret. Your body is responding to what you perceive, feel and believe. That is the messages you're wittingly and mostly unwittingly sending yourself, over and above the effects of what you eat and the amount of exercise you do. Now your ego and your past experience will instantly want to write this one off, but I'm not kidding here. There's tons of modern scientific empirical evidence that supports what I just revealed to you. So let me provide you with some of this proof, and then I'll give you an example of this in action, which will give you some clues on how you can use what you've learned. Just as a keynote first, this is why I refer to the solution, which you're about to hear now, is why I refer to the solution as the new evolution in losing weight. Because it's time our age-old and ineffective approach to weight loss evolved, and it needs to evolve in line with what we now know about mind-body. So with that in mind, here are a couple of relevant experts from the work, or excerpts rather, from the work of 2 of the top experts at the forefront of this rapidly advancing field that provides the science to support the way your mind is shaping your body and your relevant experience of life. Now, as a little side note, I highly recommend the 2 books mentioned here. This stuff is cutting edge and provides a science and empirical backing for all that I'm sharing today. And again, we are just scratching the surface, or just touching the surface here. However, if you want to save yourself a lot of time and learning just applying this to losing weight, then keep watching. Okay, so Dr. Bruce Lipton, author of The Biology of Belief, is an international recognized leader in bridging science and spirit. He is best known for promoting the idea that genes and DNA can be manipulated by a person's beliefs. Dr. Lipton is a stem cell biologist, best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, and recipient of the 2009 GOI Peace Award. He's been studying how the mind interacts with the body's cells for over 30 years and has discovered something truly remarkable. Your body's cells can be changed by changing what you think and believe about yourself. Change your beliefs, change your body. When you start to work on the beliefs in your mind, you start to change the way your body reacts to food. You can also start to change the way you think about exercise, about thin people, and about your health in general. And obviously he goes on to say more, but let's move on to the next expert, who is Dr. Joe Dispenza. You may or may not have heard of these guys, but amongst his many books, he's the author of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which is a really interesting title, I thought, and it is a great book. And so here are some telling words from Dr. Joe. The latest research shows that we have a natural ability to change the brain and body by thought alone, so that it looks biologically like some future event has already happened. Now, because you can make thought more real than anything else, you can change who you are from brain cell to gene. Now, I'm sorry, but if you're sitting there thinking your weight is due to and fixed by genetics, then it's time to change your mind there too. Because as both doctors clearly point out, and the field of epigenetics validates, your thoughts, beliefs and perceptions not only shape your body, but even supersede your genes. Meaning your genetics are not fixed. Your genetic destiny can be altered, so this too can no longer be an excuse for being overweight, provided you're willing and ready to be part of the new evolution in losing weight and open to losing weight the new way. Let me now give you one example of this in action that will also give you some ideas on how to get this working for you rather than it work against you. Let's say 2 people have the same meal, and person A believes it's an unhealthy meal and tells themselves how wrong it is, how they've messed up again, and how it's going to go straight to my hips. Maybe you can relate to some of this. And boom, the science shows those are like commands to the brain and your body. Your body chemistry changes in line with how you feel and your interpretation of the experience. And this is what your body is responding to most. Now let's take person B as a contrast. On the other hand, they may be aware that it's not the most healthy meal. However, they choose to enjoy it, to be grateful for the food, and they keep the whole thing in a more friendly to themselves perspective. There's no negative self-talk, feeling like a failure, or berating themselves, beating themselves up, running themselves down, and they're certainly not telling their body to store this on their hips. Now, various tests and experiments by the two experts mentioned and many others show and confirm that these two people who ate the very same meal would have a completely different result with regards to how that one meal impacted their body and in turn their weight. This is another example of the little known yet game-changing factors that are so far stifling your well-intended efforts. But at the same time, when you use this intentionally, these secrets offer your biggest potential for positive breakthrough change in your life. And think about this too. That is just one small example. So this sort of thing is going on all the time, all day long, in multiple situations, at several levels of mind-body. So the only breakthrough you're going to ever experience is literally breaking through your own self-imposed limits. And when you do that, then your body can't not follow. Are you starting to see why your mindset is both the trap and the way out? Are you starting to grasp why you have to shift things at this level to ever get significant and lasting weight loss results, and to ultimately free yourself from the battle once and for all? Through this step, you'll now have the magic key to locking in the changes you make so that you no longer require ongoing effort to maintain results, and are also free from the fear of reverting back to your old ways. In a completely safe environment, Craig guided me very professionally with replacing old destructive patterns by new creative ones. My 40-year-old weight loss struggle is finally over. I'm free and losing weight real fast. With love, Irene. Thanks for this, Craig. I really appreciate the session the other night. I can't tell you how much things have changed since Tuesday. Not just the food I choose to eat, but the way I can push myself in personal training, and also the way I react to things at work. On Wednesday morning, I went to my usual shop to buy my Coke Zero, and without even really thinking about it, I walked past the Coke and picked up a bottle of water. It was awesome, and no craving for the Coke either. Thank you so much, Craig. Cheers, Nikki. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds great, and I know it's what I need, but oh my god, so I need to deal with all of this mindset stuff as well? How on earth do I do that? I don't even know where to start, plus I haven't got enough time. I've got too much going on and not enough time. Weight loss is hard enough as it is. Time out. I've already shown you that your current approach is all about massive effort for very little return, which is why you're stuck viewing this as too big, too hard, too long. Now that's your memory talking, because by contrast, this approach is about reversing that equation so you get maximum results for the least amount of effort. So one of the reasons you need to take a strategic approach, as I pointed out earlier, is so that you don't need to deal with it all. Rest assured, having unpacked the mindsets of over 1,000 clients, I've deciphered where you need to go and in what order for best results. That process is called the Weight Loss Frustration to Freedom Solution. Now, as we wrap up, let me now single out the real problem and the area that you're most stuck in without realizing. Then you can decide what you want to do from here. So, as I've said throughout the presentation, your mindset is both the trap and the way out. Because, and here it is, if you look at your current results and let that determine how you think, feel and believe, then you're forever stuck. So I'm just going to rephrase or paraphrase that to really drive this home and expand a touch on it with relevance to losing weight. If you let your current body, past experiences with trying to lose weight and your current result determine your self-image, your identity, your self-worth and your beliefs about losing weight, and therefore how you approach your next weight loss attempt, then you are destined to repeat the same patterns over and over, no matter what you try. Now, if you'd like to avoid that scenario, I've got some great news for you. But before we go there, I feel it's also my duty to just issue a quick word of warning. Now, I'm sure based on what you've learned so far that we can conclude and agree upon the notion that trying to sort this all out yourself efficiently can prove very challenging. On top of that, people just don't tend to address their mindsets because it's seemingly intangible. Now, it's my view that the intangibility feeling really comes from the fact that you're trying to change your own mind, but at the same time to a degree you're lost in it. Einstein hit the nail on the head here when he expressed that you can't solve a problem by coming from the same thinking that created it. And this is precisely why having a proven system to follow and getting support or guidance through that is so invaluable and critical to your success. So you now know that the answers you're seeking to lose weight and keep it off are in the realm of mindset. You also know that there is another level called freedom that you actually should have been focusing on all along, and that the only way to get there is to address yourself. Now that you know this, following is a brief recap of your pathway to breakthrough results, success, and ultimately your freedom this time. Step 1, the Frustration to Freedom Breakthrough Foundation. Step 2, the Inspired Action Formula. Step 3, the Healthy Eating Made Easier System. Step 4, Beyond Diet Mindset Mastery. And Step 5, your keys to freedom. And remember, these steps stem out of the 5 main frustrations that people experience, and having just turned them around into 5 milestones or steps that you must step on, pass through to get from weight loss frustration to freedom. If you decide to work through the solution with me at a level that fits for you, first and foremost, of course, you'll be shown how to address yourself and your mindset, but more than that, as you do that, you'll find out how to pinpoint and address the right things. We will address the high level and high impact things that are going to have the biggest possible influence, reach, and results for you. Because it comes out of coaching over 1,000 people with the same or similar challenges to you, the solution will help you address things in a logical order and progression for efficiency and optimal results, as well as use the behavioral, physical things you must conquer and the action you need to take, plus the challenges that arise from that, to streamline your personal mindset shifts. We'll use proven effective mindset modalities, practices, tools and techniques adapted to weight loss to ensure you get the internal shifts and transformations you need so that the external shifts are inevitable. And finally, we'll combine personal development with weight loss in such a way that one enhances the other, and with the ultimate goal of you getting free. So again, as you've already proven, attempting this on your own can be super challenging, but here's the good news. If you'd like me to help you with this going forward, then this is your opportunity. So I'd like to invite you to fill out a brief application for a free weight loss breakthrough consultation with me personally, with the goal of determining if you want to take this further, and if so, how I and the solution can serve you best. Now, as I'm sure you can understand, I can only fulfill a limited number of these free sessions, which is why they're on a first come, first served basis, in combination with your application showing that you're a good fit for the program. So if you are genuinely interested, I strongly encourage you to act quickly. However, I ask that you only do so if you are serious about losing weight and keeping it off for good this time, and you're willing to work on yourself in the process. Now, if you're seeing this video, that indicates that there are still spots available for February, March 2021. We're going to go with or without you. If you choose to come along, I look forward to speaking with you. And all you need to do is just fill out the application form, which you'll find on the same page as this video. Alternatively, here is a direct link I've just placed below, which goes straight to the application if you need it.